Perhaps now Jill Biden is also not Taco Bell material. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but get it on. Mandate you get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you. Right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
And Bo Bryan.
Yeah, we all want what we don't have.
All right. So we got some liked tweets to get into. We'll start with a update on Hoodgate.
Oh.
That's the Porsche down in Malibu that had the big cock drawn on it.
Oh, right. I thought you meant South L.A.
No. There is not a gated community.
Oh, I see.
But there's been updates and additions.
Oh my God! So this car hasn't moved
as well. And people send me tweets. I look at them, and sometimes I hit the little heart because it reminds me to talk about it at some point.
Are you saying everything reminds you of something?
Everything reminds me of something. Available now for pre-order at Amazon or wherever you get finer books. All right, so we'll get into that liked tweet intro.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
So there was a Porsche, an expensive black Porsche that was parked on PCH in Malibu, and I walked past it on the way to the beach, and I saw the big cock and recipient of what the cock was producing.
Just spurting into his mouth.
All over the hood. And in large, this was 3 foot by 3.5 foot. And then
everything's a canvas.
Yep. At some point, somebody tweeted me, "Hey, I was walking down PCH. Is this the car you're talking about?"
That's the very same.
And I said, "Yeah, that's one and the same." And the tweet from Jamie Cotton says, I think this was brought up on your show a few episodes ago. I was walking in Malibu yesterday and happened upon this gem. I don't know if it's the same one. I pray it's the same one because we have a rash of cocks drawn on hoods of Porsches. It's time to leave Malibu. Anyway, we may have or do we have basically a serial Yanksy in Malibu? And so I said, yeah, that's the same car, and replied back. And then the next day or later on that day, I made my pilgrimage down to the beach and passed the same car, still parked in the same place.
Oh, boy.
This is a hate crime against bald people.
With an addition.
Oh, no.
An addition had been added to it. Please. And
I'm sorry, someone described that. What am I looking at?
It's another. It's
Is
like
that a tongue?
a happy face with a tongue and a luscious head of hair, licking the tip that's spurting into the bald dude's mouth.
Wow.
At some
Seems
point,
like a different artist.
You got to bust out that California duster and go over the $114,000 vehicle, right? I mean,
would you be the little car fairy that cleaned this up for him?
I'm going to have to grab my ShamWow and head down there because there are kids in the neighborhood and they have to pass this.
Yeah.
And
this is great.
This is painting quite the milieu.
Yeah. So now then the question is it the same artist? I don't think so. I think
different eyes.
Somebody just contributed to it.
Yeah.
Might there be a third offering in the works?
I think we let it be and see what. Let's see what this baby can do.
All right.
This is like a cover song. A Beatles covering like Chuck Berry or something.
It's great.
Yeah. So
great artist inspires great art.
There was that.
Mr. Cotton, get over there and add your work.
There was a let's see. There was a sad in the sort of where we're at as a society. This is on the probably the other side of the tracks. The number 2 tweet was this crazy footage of these young black kids, probably 3, 4 years old, in like an underpants diaper. One was literally in a diaper, and I think it was in Minnesota somewhere, and the cops were showing up serving a warrant, and these kids were playing outside or came outside to greet the cops, but we'll show you what happened.
Oh, Jesus.
Called him a bitch and punched a cop in the balls. The kids are. How old are these kids?
I'm guessing 3, Brian. Do you
The
think
one in
2.5?
diapers is 2.5.
Yeah.
They're
That
trying.
kid's maybe 3.5.
Yeah, they're.
Ooh, the little
Physically-
one just smacks the guy over and over again.
I don't know
Punching at
if they
him.
have such a thing as pre-juvie, but sign this kid up. So
This is a harbinger of a bad life to come.
we've done an exquisite job in convincing kids and dumb people that the cops are racist. And I've said all the time, why wouldn't you do?
Well-
This is a logical outgrowth of if you think cops are killing innocent black people, and then you're young and you're male and you're black and you get pulled over, why not wrestle with the cop? That doesn't seem logical not to, if that's the theme, if that's what you think.
Thinking cops are racist or think cops are evil or whatever is one thing. This is a step beyond that. This is manifesting itself as, I'm going to create physical violence against these police officers.
Well, and even a step farther, you're indoctrinating somebody who wouldn't know up, down, left, or right.
That's
a little
crazy.
kid. You're having to tell them who the enemy is.
And then, of course, one of the cops is black, and so then he becomes the Uncle Tom or the Oreo, as someone standing nearby
Officer Tom.
called him. And it's a good way to, A, get your kids killed by the cops, but it's also a better way to have the cops go, whatever the fuck's going on in that neighborhood, I'm not stopping and getting out of my car, so they can just kill each other, which is essentially what happens when cops pull back. When cops pull back, the folks who own the Porsche in Malibu, they're not really affected. But when cops pull back in tough neighborhoods, then more people, young people, get killed. So, hey, Black Lives Matter, nice job. Wonderful job. And is there anything without, part 2? You know what I mean? You can't do a year and a half of cops are racist and evil and then not have more murders in black communities. And you can't talk about, green energy and shutting down pipelines and going after petrochemical companies without gas prices $7 a gallon. And we got to get our gas now from some of the worst players on the planet. You can't just do the first part. The second part will come in.
We have to do the now what?
Comes in fast. It comes in fast. So we have a whole. I've been harping about this for years. Everyone has this thing where it's like, you have to have that conversation with your young black son about cops being racist and having a target on your back. You have to have a conversation about respecting the cops, keeping your hands on the steering wheel, and
Not
yes, sir,
striking them?
yes, sir, no, sir, and not striking. Now, so where did the kids at 3? Where do you get this idea? It's not like you turned on Nickelodeon.
That's what I'm saying. You have to be indoctrinated.
Yes, you have to get it from your parents or your parent, and they have to get it from the movement and society at large. So nice job. Fantastic job. And we're not going to have recruitment by cops. No one's going to want to be a cop. Then we're going to pull back and we'll do community policing. It's all insane based on a lie, which is the cops are going after unarmed black men. The numbers are staggering. You people should look into it. It's minuscule, the number of unarmed black men that are killed by cops. It's, again, maybe between 15 and like 22 every year, and there's just nothing to support it. So, but keep going, and we'll see how this kid turns out. We'll see how his life works out, wrestling with cops. On that note, although Chris didn't pull it because I didn't talk to him about it, but in the worst mom / girlfriend in the world department. Your top 10.
Thank
but
you.
You ain't number 1.
Okay.
Number 1 is there's that whole situation in the bodega where the guy was sitting there and he stabbed the guy and he's in Rikers, and then they had a $500,000 bail, and then they reduced it to $250,000, and then people got outraged, and now he's out. But that whole thing started because the mom, showed up, and Chris, you can look for the article, but I think it was late, like midnight or something. Anyway, the mom
This was the dude who went behind the counter
Yes.
and started smacking the old guy?
Yes, and then the old guy stabbed him, and then we arrested the old guy. So, because that's the New World Order. It's basically the taxpayers versus the non-taxpayers in the war that's waged on those who play by the rules or those who are being attacked. The part of that story that people don't know is that guy who's now dead, who was a career criminal, was out on parole for assaulting a cop. Hey, what? No.
Pattern fits.
Yes. That guy, a couple things. Since Loveline, I've always been wildly curious about people who are out on parole playing so fast and
Doubling
loose.
down.
Like, you're out on parole. Your old lady wants a bag of chips at the bodega. Her debit card provided by the government is not working. Now, you ended up losing your life. Good. But you're on parole.
Yeah.
It's a bag of Doritos.
You should just said no chips tonight,
You really
honey.
want to head down and physically assault somebody
No, I
and
do
just go
not.
right back into Rikers over chips? So
Chappelle had a segment where when keeping it real goes wrong.
That's right.
This is when keeping it real goes wrong.
Yeah.
Well, she is the world's worst mother and potentially girlfriend because that guy wasn't even there. She went in to go get her bag of chips.
Oh, he was in
and
the car or something, yeah?
I don't know where he was, but he wasn't there. It wasn't in the... I don't know if he was in the car.
Well, either way, she retrieved him to
He was
settle
at home.
this.
He was at home.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was at home. And he was just there, probably hanging around watching Jeopardy. And
Boning up.
she goes in with her government-funded card, tries to buy a bag of empty carbs for her son or daughter. The card doesn't work. The guy tries it a few times. It's not working. And so he says, you can't have the chips. To which she says, this is bullshit. Her, by the way, free chips because it's not her money. Anyway, he takes the chips back from the kid, and then she calls the guy who's on parole and says to the guy behind the counter, you're going to get your ass kicked now.
Oh, boy.
Now, first off, I'm very interested whether it's driving on the road, as I've discussed with some people, or getting a bag of chips with your debit card from the government. What are your rules in terms of society? That your card doesn't work, so you're going to call your boyfriend to come
Not
down
for $1.25.
and physically assault the guy who's
The
sitting.
messenger.
He doesn't own the bodega.
Yeah.
He just works there. That's so. Like, how easily are you triggered by things not working out?
I'd say very.
This is pretty straightforward. Do that move where you rub it on the thigh of your pants for a few
Yeah,
minutes.
blow on it.
Blow on it, like I do with my room key that doesn't work. So she calls the guy. The guy then comes down, and now he's kind of in this position where he's got to now stand up for his lady.
Yeah.
And
Trust in a service.
God knows what she tells him.
But yeah, there was no affront to her. What is he
Well,
standing up
he doesn't
for?
know that.
But in the honor of his lady was besmirched by the man at the bodega.
So he must, slap him with the glove.
Right.
Right. So who knows what she says
Right.
to him. And then he comes down like, what the fuck's going on? And then he goes around and then he assaults the guy and then the guy stabs him. And so from the time he gets the phone call to the time he's dead is probably about 15 minutes. Nice. It's also, you can say to the old lady, hey, I'm on parole.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't come down and engage
Yeah.
in a physical altercation.
With the place that has all the cameras?
Cameras, yes, of
yeah,
course.
maybe not. But he throws caution to the wind. He comes down. Then
That's what she likes about him.
she, I think after the guy who was working at the bodega stabbed the guy, she then attempts to stab
Oh, I didn't see that.
the guy.
Oh, that's love.
I saw this the day it broke, so that's a few days ago.
Yes.
So I didn't see any of
This
the
is
updates.
uncovered footage.
I didn't see that.
More footage from a different angle. Now, I hope she's in jail, but she wasn't initially. She was just the one who got her boyfriend dead over a bag of chips. I don't know. Is there any? I think there's an article about it.
Did she
out there.
successfully stab him or just attempt to?
There's footage of her holding the knife like time, but no, I don't think she stabbed him. Was able to stab him, but she was attempting to stab him. So that may be the world's worst mom / girlfriend.
Oh, poor
right.
kid.
God,
so we
seriously.
confirmed that she has a kid. She was getting the chip for the kid.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
So she probably should be dealt with, and the kid probably needs to go to a better. Maybe the family with the 3-year-old who puts their kids in diapers and have them attack law enforcement.
Yeah.
Maybe probably stand a better chance with that group.
Is there an Ace Butler situation where the bodega worker has to now raise the kid?
Oh, by law.
Yeah.
Yes.
By law.
Yeah. I would watch that sitcom.
Hell yeah.
All right. So Chris can look around for that article. Don't know. Came out yesterday, the day before.
Yeah. I'm just skimming through it.
I'm
here.
just looking right here on the Daily News. During the scuffle, the girlfriend pulled a knife from her purse.
Oh, how nice.
And stabbed Alba in the arm, but was not charged with any crime.
Again, one person in this equation pays taxes and tries to run a business legally that pays taxes. The other person gets money from the government and carries a knife in their purse. The guy who pays taxes is the guy who goes to Rikers. She is fine. She
And by
gets
the way,
to go home.
because he went to Rikers immediately, that stab is infected, according to the
yeah.
story. So he's not doing real well. And, we're all God's children. Fantastic. I think he may have been, fallen on hard times if this was his his only employment opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about a guy that just wants to go sit in the bodega and go to work and get his paycheck.
ring up your
It's
chips.
not like we really stuck it to the man this time,
Stuck it.
Yeah. Then he goes to Rikers. Now he has an festering wound.
Is there more to sorry to interrupt because the footage I saw was a few days ago when the original whatever clearly self-defense. The guy comes behind him, starts attacking him.
You pushed him into a chair and he fell backwards.
And now we get into big tech and insanity. I think somebody started like a GoFundMe bail for the guy, and GoFundMe took it down.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ, people. We're getting in a weird upside-down world here. The
Yeah.
homeless are the heroes. The taxpayers are the problem. I've said it a million times. You cannot have that huge chasm between the criminals and the non-taxpayers and the people with no criminal history who go to work.
And we saw the heroes yesterday of the kids getting off a city bus and going to school. We
Yes.
saw the heroes that were lined against the street with the kids trying not to get stabbed with a needle.
Yes. All right. We also have good news for me. Number 4 tweet was somebody tweeted me a placard from inside a bathroom on an airplane.
Oh.
And my lament. It says federal law prohibits tampering with smoke detector
Oh, look at
in this
that.
laboratory.
Efficient.
Brevity.
Saving ink.
That's right.
I'm telling
Disabling.
you, when I started flying in the mid or later 90s, I only heard it on one airline. It was just one airline. I paid attention, tampering with, disabling, or destroying. I would always want to scream, you had me at tampering, but keep going, bitch.
Falls under that umbrella.
Right. But it was really like American or United. It was like one airline, and others didn't do it. And then it started to spread.
That sounds
And
pretty
in
good.
5 or 6 years, every airline had the same pattern. But
The data came out from American Airlines our tampering is down 28%.
Totally.
federal law prohibits tampering with smoke detector in this laboratory. Good.
Short and sweet.
We're done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
All right. So good news on that front. Somebody tweeted me a John Stewart clip.
Oh, I haven't watched this yet, but I know it's making the rounds. I mean, I didn't see the whole thing.
All right, thanks for telling us.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I want to see this because do you know what this
I know.
is?
No, I don't actually.
Everybody is talking about this, and I kind of thought we'd get into it, so I'm excited.
It was based, or do we have the tweet there, Chris? It was
It was based on the Pedo Peter.
Yes, Pedo Pete.
The hashtag. Yeah, they wrote Pedo Peter on it, but yeah.
What is Peter Peter?
or pedo.
That was the name that Hunter Biden gave to Joe Biden in his contact list.
Oh my.
So
Oh,
Yeah, so I figured we would watch the clip.
they're getting into the laptop, and the laptop has tons of stuff on it. Evidently, Hunter Biden just chronicled every nefarious thing he did. There's footage of
Dear
him.
diary, what a day.
There's footage of him weighing crack cocaine.
What are you supposed to take the drug dealer's word for it?
What I'm saying is we all do things, and there's a public version of us, and then there's a private version of us. I masturbated, or I took a BM, or whatever this. I blew a snot rocket in the shower.
Big morning.
But I did not. I don't feel the necessity to chronicle it.
Right,
You know what I mean?
record it.
Yeah, of course.
He's filming. There's a million pictures of him smoking crack. Why?
Does that suggest what is he not recording?
I guess.
Like,
but
is he burying bodies?
What is the? What do we do with this picture of you and a prostitute weighing crack, or filming the weighing of crack, or smoking of the crack? You certainly can't share it with friends and family
Yes,
members.
what is the purpose
It's not
here?
for the Christmas
This is
card.
To what end?
This is right. This is just for you,
Yeah.
presumably. But why?
But why?
He chronicled everything, and there is you can find the crack weighing thing. But anyway,
Yes, please.
Joe
He should be the
Biden.
weights and measures czar.
Joe Biden needed a name, and he couldn't come up as Joe Biden for security reasons.
Someone
So
gets his phone.
He was, Peter Johnson or something, and so Hunter and his phone went pedo Pete.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Again, like kind of unnecessary.
Yeah. Self-inflicted wound, I would say.
But anyway, someone then pulled this John Stewart clip up from, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, I guess. And I'm not sure when
Is
this
this
is
the Daily
from.
Show? Because he hasn't been the host for
Yeah,
many years.
it was during the Daily Show. Yeah,
Oh,
this is-
more than
Yeah, this is when he
7
was vice
years ago.
president, yeah.
All right, here we go.
Joe Stewart was the goddamn best.
Yeah.
He obviously had a point of view. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He came from a certain position of the aisle, but he called it like it was. He gave it that equally.
I agree. That's why he was the best.
Oh,
Well,
boy.
maybe still is.
Joe
Maybe still
definitely likes to smell hair. I think we can all we all have signed off on that.
There's something going on because also in his daughter's diary, she wrote about him taking showers with her and said it was weird and uncomfortable and like inappropriate.
His own daughter, sorry.
Yes.
Brian, when's the last time you took a shower with Tessa?
Just last night. but
Okay,
she wasn't
that's
fine.
pretty normal. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's his daughter makes mention of it in this diary. Maybe Chris will find it somewhere. And then his son makes the joke, but jokes live somewhere.
Yeah.
It wouldn't.
Yeah.
They don't really, exist if let's just say the guy's really into NASCAR and not so much into sniffing young kids' hair, then it doesn't make sense. You'd make some sort of joke about NASCAR or something or whatever the subject, some band the guy loves or something like that. So there's something. Ashley Biden's diary, Crystal.
Yeah, so according to Daily Mail, Ashley Biden, a drug addict, left her personal diary under a mattress in a Palm Beach, Florida halfway house where she stayed during a rehab stint. And the diary reportedly details her drug abuse, sex addiction, and her being hypersexualized. And she also recounts times she showered with her father when she was young. Something she allegedly wrote was, quote, probably not appropriate.
Yeah, young could mean like 9 or 10 or 11, which would not be appropriate, I would imagine. I don't know. What about you and Sonny?
I would say that I would use the word squeamish about seeing my kids in any version of undress or anything. In almost any phase of their existence.
Really?
It was like I would file it under what's in it for me. Like I could be changing a diaper or I could be downstairs watching TV. And, they're in the tub, they'd have a bath, you'd walk in and blow some bubbles or something. But it was always,
Not your scene.
Not my scene. What good could come of it is how I just filed it under that. I didn't give weird energy about it. I didn't yell cover up, you're going to hell or
Blasphemer!
or any of that. But I was just like, I have then, And when they become teenagers, a lot of door knocking and
Oh,
slow
yeah. I'm
door
coming up the
opening.
stairs.
I'm not interested in busting anyone or walking in the middle of, or I want nothing to do with that. And I've always kind of been that way. I wouldn't do that under any circumstances because for me, I don't know why. It's like some people have a thing about. We were talking yesterday about Howie Mandel's friend with the prolapsed anus.
We sure were.
America's divided. Many Americans, and I don't judge them, would like to see it. I do not want to see it. Now, why don't I want to see it? Is that really because I'm pro-anus or anti-anus?
Or anywhere
I love
in
her.
between.
Yes, or a proctologist or anything. It's just, it falls under the heading of, no thanks.
No good can come of it.
No good. I feel the same way about showering with my kids. It's just, what?
Why?
Right. You got to shower. I got to shower. We get it.
We all know how it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I roll.
Vinny-
Sorry, real quick. Meeting in the middle or meeting those two, showing your kids the prolapsed anus could prevent any number of problems in the future.
But could create some.
Number of problems
like
in the
alcohol
future.
addiction.
You ride that bike without a seat, son. You're going to end up like those kinds of teachable moments.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Sorry, Vinny, what?
Oh, when we showed that video, it was a censored version. Vinny looks at me. He points at his phone. He's like, motion, like, text me the uncensored version. Like, I really want to see it.
Oh, boy.
That's Vinny.
He's
Yeah.
all the way up there in Virginia.
Oh, and I showed him some pretty gnarly wound openings. He's into that shit.
But by the way, this is why I can't hunt and I can barely fish.
Yeah.
Just as you take it, you put the hook in the eye of the minnow, and then it'll be like live bass. Like, I'm not putting a hook into the eye of one of God's creatures.
Yeah.
And then when you get the fish on, you have to hit it with the bat.
Yeah,
You hit it with the bat, and then later we'll gut it. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm like, let's go to the seafood market and let's see what halibut costs. That's who I am. I'm squeamish. It's not my sensibilities. I'm not offended. I'm
You're
just
sensitive to the images. Visceral.
when I'll tell you this, and at the risk of sounding like a hero,
Okay.
I'm too empathetic.
It's long and said.
Yeah,
It's been said.
he's been
I know.
accused of it often.
I know, but let me explain. When I was a kid and I watched a movie about like prisoners, I felt horrible for the prisoners. I was just it depressed me to no end. I made the mistake.
My
of
God, you've changed.
seeing. I know. Well, now I would just want them killed by bodega owners so they don't have to rot at Rikers. But I saw a movie like Papillon, and I was so depressed that this guy was in jail, you know, and I would always kind of feel so bad for these people, and it just sort of goes that with hunting and fishing. It's like I feel bad for the moose, you know, like he got shot in the neck, you know, like I get it. I had a hamburger that night, so shit, you know, I'm a hypocrite, but I
a
felt that
cognitive
way,
dissonance.
and I just feel the same way about injuries and prolapsed anuses
Dawson,
and showering with kids.
Do you remember driving back from a San Diego live show back in the radio days, circa 2008? And it was one of those, the radio station got us a limo with a TV in the back, and we decided to watch whatever the latest Jackass movie was, 1 or 2 or whatever. And Adam physically shielded his eyes with a hat so as not to watch some of the more
Graphic.
grotesque, I don't know what you would call it. And you uttered, "My teeth, this makes my teeth hurt."
Yes, I remember that.
Because when a guy's getting his hog bitten by a king snake,
You feel
I
it.
just transfer it to me.
Yeah.
I just go, I would hate to be that moose,
Right.
and I would hate to be that dick.
So let me ask you this. Then why, when Drew was in the middle of a full-on raging panic attack, did you scream at him and tell him to snap out of it?
That was for him.
It was holding it up his schedule.
But did you...
And holding up my schedule.
Understood.
Yeah, there were too many people surrounding him.
Chutchkiing him, as the Jews say.
Fanning it. They're fanning it on. They kept yelling like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" Breathe into this bag, and he was getting worse. I felt like he needed the
voice of reason.
He needed the yank of the chain at that
Caesar
point.
Milan.
All right, that's right. Corey DeAngelis is going to join us as a PhD. We'll talk to him about school choice and many other things. First, I'll tell you about concrete. Wow, this stuff is good. I use it every day. It's creatine, and you need creatine. So your body makes about half the creatine it needs, and then the other half comes from the diet. And surprise, surprise, the American diet, not so great for creatine, not rich in creatine. Concrete, patented creatine, HCl is a favorite creatine of elite, well-informed athletes, the number one bioavailable creatine, and it's the only microdosing creatine. Just one small scoop per 100 pounds, and you get the creatine you need. It's required, creatine is, for functional energy in every cell. Your brain uses about 20% of the creatine in your body, so protect yourself, your immune system as well, with concrete, right, Dawson?
Take control of your health, both body and mind. Build a better you with Concrete. Register now at concrete.com/podcast. That's con-cret.com/podcast for a chance to win a $500 Walmart Visa gift card. Available now online and in-store at Walmart. Concrete is truly life-changing and performance-enhancing.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back with Corey DeAngelis right after this.
Adam Carolla's 6th book and audiobook. Everything reminds me of something. Advice, answers, but no apologies.
Every summer, we're lectured by politicians and PSAs about only using appliances at certain times. It's like we're all forced to be Hasidic Jews on Shabbos. At this point, Gavin Newsom and the Democrats running California literally don't want us to have any power. These idiots want to phase out gas cars by 2035. And in 2020, former LA Mayor Eric Garcetti was proposing an urban air mobility partnership, aka flying taxis. These idiots want to live in the Jetsons, but they're running the city like the Flintstones.
Everything reminds me of something. Coming soon, wherever finer books are sold. Pre-order yours now at adamcarolla.com.
Well, Corey DeAngelis, PhD, Senior Fellow, American Federation for Children, has joined us, and it's good timing because I think our own Gavin Newsom is in D.C. getting some sort of award on education or something today.
Well deserved.
We should be recognized.
Yes, good to see you again, Corey.
Hey, thanks for having me.
School choice, it feels so fundamentally American and sound and, competition and good. It brings out the best. And it's a subject that would really be a game changer. We talk about, we need more community policing. That's not really a game changer. That's a sort of after the fact thing. This is let's not create so many criminals. Let's get kids educated. Every American agrees on that. Why is it such a controversial subject?
Well, I like that you pointed out that better education could reduce crime. In fact, there are 6 peer-reviewed studies that link charter schools and private school choice programs to crime reduction. They've all found large reductions in crime, including 2 of my own studies of the Milwaukee voucher program, which is one of the longest standing voucher programs in the U.S. Both of them found large reductions, and they're both peer-reviewed, in criminal activity rate later on in life from getting access to a better education. And the opposition's obvious, right? It's from entrenched special interests that fight to keep their monopoly at the expense of parents over and over and over again. We saw it right in front of our eyes over the past couple of years with the teachers unions overplaying their hand and showing their true colors, trying to infuse politics and just trying to get more money out of the taxpayer with school closures. And so, of course, they fight as hard as possible to keep it that way. They want to keep your kids' education dollars, regardless of how well they do and regardless of whether they even open their doors for business. But thankfully, we've seen a shift politically and just in the minds of parents. People are starting to understand that the status quo is indefensible, and there isn't any good reason to fund a closed, failing government building when you can fund the student directly instead.
I have a question. It feels like such a no-brainer, like Adam alluded to, and I've long wondered, can you explain what would the most compelling, best articulated argument against school choice? What's the argument against? Because it feels like a layup.
Yeah, they don't have any good arguments against it, but they will repeat things over and over again. The main argument you'll hear from the teachers union is that this will destroy the public schools, or it'll steal money from the public schools. But the reality is school choice doesn't steal money from public schools. If anything, public schools steal money from families, and school choice initiatives just return that money to the hands of the rightful owners. Education funding is supposed to be meant for educating children, not for propping up and protecting a particular institution. I mean, look, you'd never hear someone say that allowing families to choose their grocery store stole money from Walmart or Safeway, because we all understand that even if you're using a taxpayer-funded initiative like food stamps or WIC, we all understand that that money is meant for the family, and they can choose Walmart or Safeway if they want, but you could also take that money to Trader Joe's or another provider of the service. And all I'm arguing with school choice is that we apply that same logic to K-12 education to fund people directly as opposed to buildings. Look, we do this with higher education. We have the Pell Grant. We have other tuition scholarship programs in several states. We have the GI Bill for veterans. With pre-K programs, the same thing. The funding follows the decision of the family, and you can choose a private, religious, or non-religious provider. So look, the money doesn't belong to the buildings, it belongs to the students. So you can't steal money that wasn't yours to begin with. So but then two, I have one more response to that is, look, the public schools are not destroyed. We have tons of evidence on this. School choice doesn't destroy public schools. It makes them better. They up their game in response to competition. 25 of 28 studies on the topic and a peer-reviewed meta-analysis from 2019 all find that statistically significant positive effects of private school choice competition on the kids' outcomes in the public schools. So school choice is a rising tide that lifts all boats. And I got to ask the other side, well, why would you believe giving families a choice would defund the public schools if they're doing a good job? You're essentially admitting that you understand that a lot of families aren't happy with what they're getting in the current system. That's an argument for choice, not against it.
Well, couple things. First off, I don't know why it's not as obvious or transparent as people should know, which is it's essentially the public schools are a Del Taco, and I'm saying, let's open a Taco Bell across the street. They go, no, that will hurt the kids. It's like, that'll hurt the kids, or you don't want the fucking competition. Yeah. It's like, no, we're all for kids, and we love tacos. But we're not going to be able to open a Taco Bell across the street. And it's like, wait, which is it now? You love Mexican food, and you love the kids, and you love to see them thriving eating Mexican food, but you're going to make sure that they can't open a Taco Bell across the street. So maybe just worried about your Del Taco. That's what it kind of feels like. I can't think of another argument as to why. And California is insane because we are pro-choice for everything, right? We are pro, you have 7,000 pronouns. Everyone just decides for themselves what their sexual proclivities are or how you identify. Choice up the fucking wazoo, but not for schools. No choice in schools. Hey, Gavin Newsom, I thought you were just a pro-choice person, but not with kids, not with schools. Huh. Interesting that someone is so pro-choice on every subject, but not with education.
Sniff.
Curious. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's exactly what I was thinking when you said that about if your public school is kicking ass, you have nothing to worry about.
That's right. And look, I mean, the opposition to this has nothing to do with logic and everything to do with power dynamics. Randy Weingarten, the least liked union president over the past couple of years, who fought to keep schools closed by influencing and lobbying directly the CDC to make it more difficult to reopen schools, her campaign contributions from her union in the 2022 cycle, 99.99% of those campaign contributions have gone to Democrats as opposed to Republicans. So this is all political. It's all about power dynamics. It has nothing to do with logic. And you see hypocrisy all over the place. With Gavin Newsom, he was complaining about Zoom school while he was sending his own kids to in-person private school. Well, if you support choice for your own family and sending your own kids to private school, well, why not allow less advantaged, low-income families be able to take that $15,000 or $16,000 that California? I think the latest budget in California is now like $24,000 per student, from what I just heard last week. Why not give that money to the parents? Let them choose. If they like the public school, you can keep your public school. But if not, the funding should follow the child to the institution that, one, best aligns with their values, and two, just best meets their needs for whatever reason. The money shouldn't belong to any particular building.
That's exactly where I was hoping you were going with this, because I thought, we're talking about Gavin Newsom, we're talking about fairness, all this stuff. But isn't this like a real bad, like, socioeconomic racial issue when you're saying, my kids can afford to go to private school, but you don't get a choice. You stay in the shitty school wherever your neighborhood is?
It's the same as we talked about with, defunding the police. It doesn't affect Barbara Streisand in Malibu. It affects the people who live by the bodega in New York City. And the bad parts of the neighborhood with the black and the brown kids are the ones who suffer. This is a group who never stops talking about the black and the brown kids, but they're not for what would be the most important, impactful thing you could do for those kids, which would be giving them a shot at an early education and a good school via choice. So then you have to wonder, are they that into the little brown and black kids? I don't think so. And yes, some shrew like Randy Weingarten, who can be this powerful, can go lobby the CDC and then set policy for the rest of us based on her crazy wish and the group that she represents. That's fucking insane, and it's dangerous too. It's not how you want to run a society.
Yeah, and one of her union's affiliates, the Chicago Teachers Unions, I'm sure you remember, they tweeted out that reopening schools was rooted in racism, sexism, and misogyny. They later deleted that tweet after I responded to them with the CNN headline saying that the school closures had led to inequities by race and by socioeconomic status. So if anything, their argument was completely backwards, yet they wanted to keep the schools closed so they could get more ransom payments from the taxpayers, which it actually worked. In Chicago, they got over $8,000 per student in these supposed COVID relief funds since March of 2020. It was a total racket. It was extortion. And so many families are pushing back now. Look, for a long time, Randy Weingarten and her unions were the only special interest group in town, but there's a new one that has emerged, which are parents who want more of a say in their kids' education, and they've woken up. They're never going back to sleep, and they're fighting back. And they felt powerless in 2020, but they're going to make sure they never feel powerless again going forward. I mean, look at what happened to the National School Boards Association after essentially implying that some parents should be labeled as domestic terrorists. 26 states have already left and defunded the NSBA. We might as well call them the Regional School Boards Association at this time. And I think politicians are starting to see it's a form of political suicide to come out against parental rights in education after the past 2 years. You saw this with Terry McAuliffe. I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach. That didn't work out for him. We've seen other primary elections, particularly in Republican primaries, with teachers union candidates falling down left and right. So, and then just polling has been through the roof, support for school choice. So I'm optimistic going forward that we're going to free families from the clutches of the power-hungry teachers unions once and for all. It's going to start in red states, but I think it's going to become politically disastrous over time for even blue states to come out against this.
It's so unfortunate that this is a political issue, because when I think of some stuff that's going on in Florida and stuff that I might not agree with, and it's not really my cup of tea, or it's not the way I would choose for my kid or whatever, I feel like these are two totally separate issues. There's nothing political about wanting to give your kid or give your family a fighting chance at a good education. I wish there was a way to separate those two things, because when you say like red states will go down first, what does it matter? This doesn't feel political to me.
It should not matter, but the reality is Democrats are more likely to vote against school choice because they are leaning on those donations from Randy Weingarten's unions. I mean, that's just it. But you're right. When it comes to logic, school choice is an equalizer. It provides more competition. Democrats support funding students directly for higher education and pre-K. They support funding people when it comes to food stamps and Medicaid. You can take Medicaid vouchers to a private religious hospital, for example. And no one would ever argue left or right that if we're going to have food stamp funding, that it should go to a government-run grocery store that you're residentially assigned to, which would create tons of inequities like we see in the government school system. The problem is there's a power issue when it comes to K through 12 education. But the more people that wake up to that disconnect in logic, I think more politicians will start to listen to the parents. I mean, if you look at the latest polling on this, 72% of Americans support school choice, and there's super majority support among Republicans, Democrats, and independents. It's a political winner, and I think that more Republicans and Democrats are going to start waking up to that reality.
Yeah, I think the biggest or one of the problems is the media. The problem with the media is like we're in Los Angeles. The LA Times loves Gavin Newsom or supports Gavin Newsom. So the LA Times could drive this conversation, but they don't want to say anything because their guy who they like is against this thing that would be really helpful for kids. So if they were intellectually honest, the LA Times could go, we love Gavin Newsom for all the environmental and equity bullshit he tries to thrust on everyone, but
It's weird if they said it like that.
What about school choice, Gavin? How about that? But they won't do that because they've decided that they're a fan and he's our guy, in which case you cease to be a news outlet at that point. You're just cheering on your guy. It should be something that's discussed. It rarely comes up. Most people don't understand it. It's not a part. It will be a part and is now becoming a part. But we've been talking about this for a long time. No one is asking the questions. The reporters aren't grilling Gavin Newsom on, you need to explain why you think this is a bad idea. I see here that, and I actually heard that Doug Ducey of Arizona, who I'm guessing is a Republican, but I don't know enough about him, just signed a historic school bill just the last few days to give vouchers and school choice and all that stuff. And now I know there's going to be a campaign at some point calling him racist, but that's it's a pretty good sized state, and he's started it, and maybe some others will follow suit.
Yeah, that win in Arizona was the biggest school choice victory in U.S. history. There's no income caps. Every single family, regardless of income, regardless of background, gets their child's state-funded education dollars, and they can take it to the education provider of their choosing, whether that's a public school, private school, charter school, or home-based education option. That expands educational freedom to over 1 million students, every single student at the K-12 level in Arizona. That's the gold standard of school choice. And who knows, maybe other states will start to see this and say, well, maybe we should do this as well. And we also had historic victories last year, even before this Arizona victory. 19 states expanded or enacted programs to fund students as opposed to systems in 2021, which we called the year of school choice. But then Arizona just blew all those states out of the water with this signing last week with Governor Ducey. And something that's worth noting in Arizona is, yes, this is a Republican Party platform issue, but you have some red states that don't have as much school choice, like in Texas, for example, where they have larger majorities. But in Arizona, they had 1-seat majority Republican House and Senate. Every single Republican showed up and voted for it and expanded parental freedom to every single family in the state. And I expect more states will start to look at this. And we also had one other victory that's mobilizing more people to be energized about school choice, was that we had a Supreme Court case victory last month. The Carson v. Macon case, which further solidified that school choice is no issue when it comes to this so-called separation between church and state. It doesn't violate the Establishment Clause for the same reason that Pell Grants for higher education don't violate the Establishment Clause. You could take the public money in the form of a scholarship for college. You could take it to a public or private, religious or non-religious university. And because families are receiving the money, or students, and they have a choice between religious or non-religious, this is not a violation of the Establishment Clause. Now we have so many cases at the Supreme Court making that obvious that legislators and families shouldn't feel like the other side has an argument when it comes to, I mean, this is another one of the arguments that the teachers unions repeat over and over again, but it falls flat on its face when you start to see that we have other programs that do the same thing, and it's not a violation of the Establishment Clause. That's another victory, and which also makes me optimistic going forward.
What are some of the states? I mean, obviously Arizona's doing it right as of 10 minutes ago. Who's doing it wrong? Who's doing it right? We mentioned Arizona. Who are some of the states that are sort of on the vanguard of this, and who are some of the states that are sort of retarding this process?
Yeah. So Arizona and Florida were basically neck and neck for a long time on school choice champion. But with Ducey signing the bill last week, he essentially walked up to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and snatched the school choice championship belt out of his hands with friendly competition. Of course, Florida they signed a historic expansion last year, increasing the eligibility for their program automatically with something they call an automatic escalator, which will become available to more and more families year after year in Florida. So that was a step in the right direction. States that haven't done as well, I mean, look, California has charter schools, but they don't have any forms of funding students directly and allowing families to choose private options, such as religious or non-religious private schools or homeschool options through an education savings account program. So the bluer states are less likely to have education options, which is just a sad reality. West Virginia in 2021, they had the biggest victory in 2021. They now have an education savings account program, which is the gold standard of school choice policy, which is funding students directly and allowing them to choose. No income caps in West Virginia as well. They're putting the program into play right now. I think 93% of the West Virginia population is eligible for this initiative. So there's a lot of big wins around the country, more so in red states. That's just the reality right now. I think the more states that pass this, it's probably going to be red states more so at first. The blue states are, you're going to have families saying, I want that too. I mean, look, California's spending over $20,000 a kid. Even if you don't give the full $24,000 or so to the kid, maybe give families half of that. Maybe give them $12,000 or $13,000. Save the public school some money. Maybe they'll have higher per pupil spending because they'll lose the student, get to keep a bunch of the money, and then the families would see a win as well, and the taxpayers wouldn't take a hit because you'd be funding it at a percentage of what the kid would have gotten in the public school. So you can create these win-win scenarios, and if enough families have a groundswell of support pushing their legislators to support this, I think you can get it done in every state. And hopefully that isn't too far from now.
Nuts and bolts question. I just thought of this. If the allotted amount for a student exceeds the tuition, what happens to that overlay?
If you're using an education savings account program, so let's say you had, $20,000 in the education savings account. It's probably not going to be that much. But let's say your tuition was $15,000. The $5,000 could be used for tutoring or textbooks or home-based curriculum, private tutoring outside of school. Special needs therapies can be included as long as they're related to education. So that it allows maximum flexibility on the part of the parent.
Sure.
And if you had the $5,000 that you didn't spend on other things, you could roll it over to the next year. And if you made it to college with some of these initiatives, you could spend it on college tuition as well.
That sounds great. Can you imagine a scenario, though, or is it possible, where someone says, I'm homeschooling my kid, and they pocket the 10, 20, whatever it is? Is that possible?
Yeah, so with the homeschooling angle, you can't use the funding to pay yourself a salary as a homeschool parent, for example. It has to be used on home-based education expenses. So that could be curriculum and tutoring, but you can't just pocket the money yourself and then roll it over each year. So that's a provision in the bill that legislators have to be careful about. But that's not something that would be allowed.
Well,
good
and
news.
You can't use the money to go. You can't go to your favorite restaurant either. It has to be education
field trip,
expensive.
cuisines of the world.
The good news. Jill Biden's heading to the teachers union convention on Friday to speak.
To set him straight.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and Gavin Newsom is headed to D.C. to get what kind of award or accommodation for something? What Chris mentioned. Someone tweeted to me right before we went on the air.
So it's in recognition of California's transformative improvements to education.
Oh boy,
They got an award for that?
Yeah, it's the Frank Newman.
Yeah, they got an award. They got an award for spending more and more money, throwing more money at the problem. I mean, nationwide, we've seen this doesn't work. Since 1970, we've increased per pupil education expenditures after adjusting for inflation by 152%. And over the same period, teacher salaries actually only went up by 8%. So another thing is that people will say, oh, school choice is bad for teachers. But no, competition in the market in the labor market is great for employees because it gives their employer an incentive to spend the money wisely in the classroom.
Corey,
and in fact,
just
5 studies have found that.
I know.
You fix it.
It's sad. It's just they're in the pockets of the teachers union. That's it. That's all. There's only one answer, and that's it. And again, I don't blame them, and I don't blame the teachers unions. They are doing what they're protecting themselves, and Gavin Newsom and whomever are protecting themselves. They're doing what they're doing. The fault is with the news. The fault is with the people. The fault is not getting the message out, not discussing it, not covering it. And also, just on a final note, someone tweeted me that the San Francisco school just spent $500K to remove a Washington mural. Jesus. That's another. I don't know if you had that one in your.
It costs $500,000 to remove a mural. How about a sandblaster for $39.99 a day?
That's all it said. But you have the article, Dawson.
Yeah, the headline is San Francisco schools used over $500,000 marked for improvements to remove offensive Washington mural.
That feels like too much.
All right, everyone.
Get a bucket of paint.
It ain't. And it's also weird because Newsom's in this weird place where he constantly has to go, you go, I interviewed him. And if you listen to the interview, I guess you'd call it an interview. It was a light grilling. But when I said to him, family, education, he's like, have you looked at the schools? Have you looked at, they're broken. They're broken.
That's the governor's defense.
Your argument is
my house sucks.
Yeah, that's my argument. The schools suck.
Yeah.
Your schools suck. Under your supervision.
So we agree.
That's what I'm saying. It's a weird argument to say the things I preside over, or at least my party presides over, is broken and doesn't work. So don't make the argument about kids and education with no changes or alterations.
And Adam, I think you're right about the news putting out the establishment's narrative. But the good news is we have podcasts like yours and social media platforms where we can push back against the mainstream media's narrative. And I think more people are listening and they're more likely to trust shows like yours and other people's. And so I'm hopeful going forward that we have alternatives to the mainstream media. And I think that might be a reason why we're winning so much when it comes to school choice and turning the narrative around and just telling people the truth. And I think if enough people can trust shows like yours, we'll have more victories going forward.
Well, you'll be proud to know that when I got on the wrong side of LAUSD, then they came after me with some tweets. I told them to fuck right off and essentially called them all cowards. And it is true. They leave you alone once you just call them cowards and tell them to fuck off. So, we have Gavin's got a quote for the award.
When it was announced that California was the winner of the Frank Newman Award, Gavin said, California is transforming education from pre-kindergarten through to college and beyond, empowering students and families with more supports, more choices, and more opportunities. This award recognizes the hard work that's gone into this transformative change by leaders throughout the state. And the winners here are California's kids and parents.
Oh, Corey just bashed his head into a wall.
I know. More choices?
Dude, they know that the school choice is a winning message, so they're just trying to redefine. You've seen the Democrats do this, where they'll say, your zip code shouldn't determine your school or the quality of your school. That's a school choice argument. But then they turn around and they say, what we mean by that is we just got to spend $1 billion per student at every district, as if that's going to change anything. I mean, doing more of the same is the definition of insanity, and you can spend $1 million per kids and still get the same outcome if you don't have incentives to spend the money wisely.
I'm reading here, but I feel like I've read it a year ago, that you were named to Forbes 30 under 30 this week. Is that true?
I am on that list, but I am over 30 years old now, 31. But so I guess you can still call me that. But it sounds.
Yeah, no, I remember reading that about you before, but it was just ended in this week, so I didn't. That could have been lifted from an old bio. I'm guessing. Either way, being named to Forbes 30 for 30. And being 31, I mean,
it's a power move.
Yeah, it also seems like you'd still crack the top 50 even at the ripe old age of 31. All right, Corey DeAngelis, thank you so much for joining us. And again, the book, School Choice Myths, Setting the Record Straight on Education Freedom, and you can get that wherever you get finer books. I admire your passion, Corey. Thanks for joining us once again.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right. So, people, I love when people are so naive. They're like, well, why doesn't Corey DeAngelis, why doesn't he debate Gavin Newsom on school choice? It's like, he'll never go near, he'll never go near him.
Yeah, set it up. See what happens.
Set it up. Yeah, let him debate it. Okay,
Never gonna happen.
Let Randy Weingarten debate Corey DeAngelis. Let him debate. She's not doing that. She's going on MSNBC and talking about systemic racism. She's not going to get into a room with somebody who has facts in his head.
And I've mentioned this before about other subjects, that I love when it's clear that somebody doesn't have a direct dog in the fight. So it's like at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, but how does this really benefit him? I've never heard Corey talk about his kids. I don't know if he has kids. I know he's a PhD, and I know he's passionate on the subject and the numbers, so it's like a very open discussion that way.
I would love a new governmental format where we just went school choice. I don't know. Nuclear energy. I don't know.
What do you got?
What do you got? Well, why don't we just get this guy, God Sad, and he can do pro-nuclear energy, and then we'll get Jane Fonda. Or whomever.
And we'll give them the same amount of time.
Whomever, and we'll just have a nice little forum, and then at the end, that's the direction. We'll treat it like a school debate. Hey, Stanford beat UCLA, or whatever it is. Like we'll go. I think the Corey guy with the school choice, he seemed to make more points.
Pretty obvious.
So we'll just go that direction on any subject. We can do it on gun safety or whatever, and then we'll just go our separate way. All right, let's see. Adam Ray is going to zoom in a minute. First, I'll tell you about the Jordan Harbinger Show, a different kind of sponsor for this podcast, the Jordan Harbinger Show. If you're a fan of fascinating podcasts, and we're guessing you are because you're listening to this one, you should definitely check it out. There's an episode for everyone, no matter what you're into. He'll talk to Scott Adams about persuasion in a world where facts don't matter. Go inside the dark world of wildlife trafficking. You'll always find something useful to apply to your own life, like routine changes to boost productivity or slight mindset tweaks that change how you see the world. So we enjoy the show. We've had him on as a guest. We've had him on me and Dr. Drew's show. And if you enjoy those shows, you're going to enjoy Jordan Harbinger's show. So you just search it out. It's the Jordan Harbinger Show. It's HARB as in boy, IN as in Nancy, GER, and you can get it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to finer podcasts, The Jordan Harbinger Show. All right, we'll take a quick break, and we should be talking to Adam Ray right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Ace Man, Rick in New York City. Got two things for you to do before you die. Rip an IV out of your arm in the hospital. Not sure if you ever did that one before. And in prison, throw the plate of food at the door in disgust. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
I'd rather do what The Rock did in Fast and Furious, where he was in the hospital with a cast on his arm, and he just flexed it and just exploded the plaster cast.
A la Hulk.
That's a power move.
Yeah.
Dawson, little music homework for you. Something that's just been in my head and bugging me is Little Willie by Sweet.
Little Willie won't go.
Right. Versus Since You've Been Gone by Rainbow, I guess. I realize those songs are very satisfying, and it's because they have the same kind of lick. Not the same lick, the same
cadence
pattern with the kind of clap thing that is why it's really satisfying. It's almost like a little hoedown kind of a thing, but it's been in my head.
Here's Little Willie.
You got a Phil update?
I have a Phil update. I have an update on your dog because a very smart listener hit me to this, and I did a little research, and I think they might be right. There's been a lot of Phil talk, been feeling a little under the weather. We had some hot nut talk the last few days. And the listener, Lisa Bryant, emailed me and said, Does Adam know that macadamia nuts specifically are highly toxic to dogs?
Yeah, but according to the Yentas, everything is highly toxic to
hold
dogs.
That thought. Speaking of bitches, I went over to the American Kennel Club website specifically, and they said, are macadamia nuts safe for dogs? Absolutely not! Exclamation point. In fact, macadamia nuts are often listed as among the top foods to avoid giving your dog. Consequences of eating macadamia nuts: vomiting, ataxia, which is like a balance issue, weakness, hypothermia, depression. That dog didn't lift his head when we came through the door.
No, but it's because he ate a cake.
Oh,
full
of macadamia nuts?
No.
My old dog once at Christmas time ate an entire bag of Hershey Kisses, and we were worried because dogs are not supposed to eat chocolate. All she did was shit tinfoil for
That's not real chocolate.
That's
All right.
watered down milk chocolate.
But so wait, so
No,
we know
she-
what happened to him?
Hey, if he got into trash, ate a cake, and that's as much as we know.
Who's the
stoner
asshole that
dog.
wasted this cake, that threw half a cake in the trash?
Lots of questions.
Whole cake.
Oh my God!
Please tell me it was done out of rage.
It was.
Do you have a bite and you were just full?
It was like a Betty Crocker, Fred Flintstone crunchberry cake or something. It was just like, I was just like, what the fuck? You know the problem. The problem. Let's get Adam Ray up because I want to talk to him about this and many things. Adam, good to see you. You look like you're in your hotel room in Vegas.
I am, and I'm dressed like I work here.
Can we talk dessert for a second? Because I feel like everyone enjoys dessert.
Oh, yeah.
My idea of dessert is one of those souffles you get at the steakhouse that you have
Now
to
you're
order
talking.
early.
And you got to break open
The
its
lava.
molten
Apple
inside.
pie a la mode,
Yeah.
creme brulee. But for some people,
trifle.
it's bright pink frosted donuts with red, white, and blue jimmies on it and like crunch berries. You know, they go. You go to the ice cream place, and I'm like, mint and chip. Oh, that's good. And then toffee with salted toffee or something, or Rocky Road or whatever. Then they're like, I want the cake batter
With unicorn tail.
with the gummy bear sprinkled on top. I'm like, all that is just sugar. It's just not. This is why the Mexicans can't do dessert. They go, we'll take sugar and we'll melt it into the shape of a cactus, and everyone will love it. No, we won't. We want some nuance. But who are these people?
The
You
children.
casually threw out the jimmies and brushed past it. The jimmies are the worst because they're just fun colors. Like if you eat a little bit of jimmies, they're just chalky
Just
and
texture.
nasty.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's too many people who bring fun into it. Like,
Into the
oh, look
dessert.
how pretty. This is festive. Everyone's going to love it. It's like we're not partying with the dessert. We're not in a champagne room. We're just consuming it and shitting it out. Let's get the best stuff we can get. And what's your dessert? What's your weapon of choice? As a kid who was all tits with dick back in the 6th grade, you must have some thoughts.
Nowadays, sure, many thoughts. Nowadays I'm a Dippin' Dots guy, although I feel like that's a pretty tough thing to find.
Unless you're at the pier.
I feel like unless you're at the pier or you just got out of jail and someone feels bad for you and they just want you to taste something and feel anything. As a fat kid, Pop-Tarts and Cool Whip was a go-to.
That's good.
Granola bar, Kit Kat ice cream sandwiches, Costco muffins in between.
You're not discerning as a kid.
In between some milk covered titties. I mean, my own titties that were covered in chocolate that was spilling off the hot fudge that I was eating out of the microwave. I mean, the sky was the limit, and the limit was, it's almost like as if my teacher dared me to have a heart attack in the 4th grade, and I was just like, I'll see a heart attack and raise you some titties. And so probably the salty sweet combo was usually the go-to, and that's what I'm talking like. Wheat thins, sprinkled on top of, what's that? Gushers, you know what I'm saying? Just combining anything that shouldn't be combined.
All right, well,
it was,
that's a mess.
Speaking of size.
I still think there should be I want to host a show where it's basically you're taking potheads and you get them to make stony creations, and the judges are fat kids. And because nobody knows snacks better than fat kids. And you get these stoners making some of the, some of the most classic treats and, with a new spin on them. And then you get these fat kids to judge and make them feel good about the fact that their teacher, nicknames them the van, Well, guess what, Clayton? Now you can flip that on its head and not feel bad about the fact that you can't tie your shoes because you have fat toes, which is like a weird thing to develop as a fat kid, but you can get fat toes.
It feels confessional.
And judge a show.
Can I? We'll get Joel McHale's coming in, I think, soon. I'll talk to him about hosting. I think it's a marvelous concept.
Slam dunk.
Oh, what do you think about the fat kids cooking and the stoners judging?
Yeah,
I think there's more creativity with the stoners.
They're gonna pull off stuff.
Also, you want the kids. You want the fat kids with lisps and sweat and just headgear and knee braces and cold sores and
Jewish
limbs and
loves the Supersonics.
You want them on the mic. You don't want these stoners on the mic. You want to see them in the kitchen trying to get through with a shot clock right above them. Ovens are going off. They're like, what was that? And then you want the kids commentating and narrating while they're eating.
Well, speaking of size, I wanted to segue into this next subject, which is I got my second Thai massage in my lifetime a few weeks back, and the Thai women, for God fucking bless them. I mean, they're little sprites, but they're strong, but they're petite, and they get up and they walk on you, and they hold that bar, and they get you in a suplex, and a lot of elbows, and figure fours, and all the wrestling stuff. But they're up, and they're like on top of you, and they're got their knee in the small of your back, and they're walking around on you. And I was thinking to myself, this is good. America loves a Thai massage because we're a stout, robust person.
Yeah.
I bet, ironically, there's almost no massaging of a Thai type in Thailand.
It's all Swedish.
They would crush people. The Thai people are too diminutive to have a bitch walking
Tiny
on
frames.
them. They'd smash, they'd break a rib. You need big, fat, husky Americans that can take a walking on.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Did you ever notice too that they? Would you ever notice too, like they start like stepping on you and walking all over you, and then ask you if it's okay? The same way that like a maid will like open the door and then knock.
Yes.
Ask if you need any more Dippin' Dots. Yeah.
I've had this argument with my nanny before, which is you cannot combine knocking and swinging the door open into one continuous motion. You must pause, and she'll be like, I knocked and then I paused, and I'd be like, then why was my dick still out?
Proofs in the pudding.
She has to answer that.
They got that laissez-faire about my dick out and people knocking on a door or sitting on a pot taking a dump. You think that's a knock, knock, knock. Oh, I'm going to take my time holstering my cock.
They're also assuming that you can put it away as quick as you took it out.
Oh.
Like that and isn't enough time. You got to go and then like say something and then like just get buying your time. These knocks are basically to, hey, put it away, man.
You know what?
Like,
it seems like a length issue.
It's been said many times, but the dick is much like the sleeping bag. It comes out of the holder It comes out of the sack very easily.
Yeah.
It takes a while to get that thing back into the sack.
Huh.
Oh, yeah.
The dick is the sleeping bag of the camping equipment.
Yes.
But we're talking about an inflatable sleeping bag because otherwise you'll knock it back in there.
Oh, wait.
I'm saying if
you're
you have
on mattress mode. But
right,
yeah.
but I'm trying to make a comparison.
Yes, I think you're right. I think when the dick is not the same size and in the same shape as it was when it came out.
I see. That makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah, I agree.
By the way, real quick sleeping bag story. When I was 8, my sister and her whore friends zipped me up in a sleeping bag and left me there for about 2 hours and change to I guess die. I don't know what the purpose of zipping up your brother in a sleeping bag is if you don't want to, just kind of make sure he just stays in there for a while. But yeah, and you want to talk about classic fat kid thoughts. My first thought wasn't, I'm never going to see my family again. It was, I think I still got a meatball parm in the fridge. Who's going to finish that? But being in a sleeping bag with not much oxygen, man, terrifying table for one. I do not recommend it. I know you're a big sleeping bag guy. I definitely make sure there's a pee hole or a glory hole, just something to breathe out of.
Good call.
I got to tell you, the most terrified I ever was as a kid, and especially when you want to talk about not having, pre-video games and flat plasma TVs, we found like a roll of carpet, and thought it'd be funny to roll me up in the carpet. When you get rolled up in a carpet and there's 3 feet of daylight, after your feet, your feet ain't hanging out.
Right.
It's 3 foot of carpet on the other side of your feet and 3 foot on the other side of your head. Freak out. You will fucking freak.
Much.
It is a weird, whether your arms by your side and they just roll you up and leave you there. At some point, they'll start kicking you. But that was a freak out moment for me. Did they make a husky-sized sleeping bag for the young children of a different carriage, or is this a standard sleeping bag you were in back in the day?
This was pretty standard. I think it definitely was probably a 2-person bag. That I just comfortably fit in. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like when you you're that same age where you're like, "Hey, Dad, your coats fit me." And he's like, "That's not a good thing."
Right. So I should give a plug, by the way. Adam Ray's in Las Vegas, going to be there in the theater at Virginia Hotels, and that'll be this Friday. And then he's off to Phoenix to the Celebrity Theater. That'll be on Saturday, and then Boulder. Be at the Boulder Theater, playing a lot of nice theaters this Sunday. So go out and support. I know you're always acting, always working now. I know you're playing Vince McMahon on the new on the Rock series. He got into a little kerfuffle, I guess, recently.
His daughter's taking his stead for a while.
Yeah. Any thoughts? Any insights?
Well, it's almost like when Paula Deen, got in trouble for saying some not racially favorable comments. You're just like, yeah, the Southern heavyset white lady, doesn't have progressive thoughts on race. I don't know, the steroid infused, confident, swagger filled wrestling chairman might have. It's not surprising that there were some things like this involved. Yeah. I think that whole world is pretty. And then I don't know.
I agree. We as a society should stop being surprised.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Mike Tyson was punching.
Stop being surprised. Yeah.
Mike Tyson punched that guy in the airplane. Yeah, the guy who was flicking the back of his ear for 20 minutes. Mike Tyson punched that guy. Like if Carl Sagan opens a can of whoop ass on someone on a commercial flight, that's news. Yeah. You know what I mean? That politician is banging his intern, and McMahon's got a sexual appetite of 10. Yeah. That's actually, I'd kind of be disappointed if he didn't. I really would.
Yeah, by the way, that Tyson punch was, what's so great about that is that, you're on the plane, you can't go anywhere. It's not like it was as he got off and then walked off the plane. So he turned around and punched this guy and then turns back around, hits his call button and says, "You guys have any more Diet Sprite?" You know what I'm saying? Like he just goes right back into being a passenger.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
yeah, sorry, go
I don't know
ahead.
if you guys have had this happen to you on a plane, but I turned 40 2 weeks ago, and I don't know if this is a 40 thing or a new overly protective plane policy, like check on the people. I get into the bathroom. I couldn't have been there for more than 90 seconds, and the stewardess comes by. Is everything okay in there?
Oh, God.
After, again, not even 2 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, you guys served me eggs on a plane from a microwave, and surprised they didn't sit well. You might want to drop those oxygen masks. And also, who's checking on anybody in the bathroom that's not
weird.
Walking in with an oxygen tank or, looked like,
someone else.
there was, I think like 10 minutes feels like a time to like, maybe even 5 to do a check. But this was, we're still, early into the game, and she's coming by, and everyone looked at me when I walked out.
Yeah,
I wonder.
Like that.
The manager making a trip to the mound in the first inning.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, man, let me get through this.
There you
Pitch
go.
counts still
Great
double
analogy.
digits.
I threw 2 pitches.
Fine, I walked the bases loaded. We'll get out of this.
The knocking on the door means everybody in the cabin has to look
Yeah.
and observe, and then they're going to want to know who exits that bathroom. And it's TV's own Adam Ray, everyone, because you're out and about.
Hey, Emmy nominated for Pam and Tommy. Not my performance, but the show is.
That's
I don't know what that
awesome.
means. Do I get one if they win?
He did a fucking bang up Jay Leno. We all saw it. It was great.
That was a great mini. Are we calling it a mini series?
Limited series.
Limited. I knew there was
Limited
something wrong
series.
with saying mini series because someone said that 22 years ago,
got a
and
bad
we
stink on
must
it.
change everything
Yeah.
all the time. But yeah. Oh, when does that go down, and will you attend?
Today, right? The nominations
I
were
would
today.
love to attend. I don't know. The nominations just dropped today, and so the show itself was nominated, and I don't know how many EPs you have to. I was in 3 EPs, and I don't know what constitutes an invite or even an award, but I'll be doing my best to try to get there.
Well, now Gina's got to figure out who the competition is.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Also, Gaslit is new episodes airing on Stars with Adam in it as Ron Ziegler.
This looks awesome.
White House press secretary under Nixon with Julia Roberts
Yep.
and Sean Penn. Did you?
Oh yeah,
Did you cross paths with those two?
I did. I didn't even. Sean Penn was in full prosthetic, right, as John Mitchell, and I didn't even know it was him. And I'm walking in, and they go, "Hey, so the actors, before we start, you guys can just we'll have you guys all sitting, waiting, and holding over there." So I'm walking around. I'm a little lost on the soundstage, and I go up to who I later find out is Sean Penn, and I didn't know. And I was like, "Hey, man, do you know they said actors supposed to sit around the corner here?" It just looked like he was an actor. And he goes, "Yeah, follow me." And so I follow him into this little holding area, and we sit down, and he sits down, and then somebody comes in. They go, "Sean, we're going to be ready for you. We're going to shoot you up quick first." And he goes, "All right." And then I just look at him and I go, "Oh, Sean, as in Sean Penn?" And he just goes, "Surprise." In full prosthetic.
That's awesome.
And I was like, wow. But that guy was a gangster. I mean, just getting to do a couple, scenes back and forth with him was pretty cool. And then met Julia Roberts briefly. But the whole cast, I mean, Pat Oswalt's in it and was pretty awesome. And Hamish Linklater and Nat Faxon and a bunch of Betty Gilpin from Glow. I think she's actually nominated for something for it. But it's a cool story. And then Dr. Phil plays Richard Nixon in the role of a lifetime.
Oh my God!
Wow, I didn't know
I
that.
didn't realize that.
Range.
Yeah, nobody knows. I'm off camera for the whole thing, so it's just a lot of VO. It's just a lot of just there's really only 4 scenes that I'm in, and I only have three lines, and they're all the same line. It's my most famous line that I think is why they hired me. They just wanted the authentic Phil to embody Nixon because we share the same thirst and we want our curiosity quenched by asking someone and the biggest question to figure out what you're about and where you came from, and I think you know what that question is. Who touched you?
Oh, Nixon asked that.
Hey,
Nixon asked that question.
Dr. Phil, we have all the other limited series nominees. I know you're a big Pam and Tommy fan, But Dr. Phil, dope sick.
Sure, they should have nominated Tommy's cock, first of all. I don't know why that didn't get any nominations, but it was featured.
Yeah.
Mine will be in the In Memoriam this year. Dope Sick on Hulu.
Dope Sick, great show. That's about the pill poppers, right?
Yeah, Dr. Phil, you'd know that was a fantastic series. Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, right, from Batman to Vicodin. And you know what's great about the pill industry is that it gets a bad rap. But have you ever gotten a Thai massage while you're about 6 Ambien deep? Also, there's something to be said about Michael Keaton coming back and playing all these real life people, right? He went from Beetlejuice to the McDonald's guy, and who's next? Maybe he'll play Tony Robbins or
I'd like that.
Martha Stewart's. One of the guys Martha Stewart wants to fuck. Didn't she just come out and say she wants to kill her friend's husband so she can bang him or something?
Yeah.
I can't read very well.
No, she didn't say she wanted to kill him. I think she was just saying she wouldn't mind if he died, through natural causes.
There you go.
So she could blow.
Sure.
The wife would die, I think, and then she could blow the grieving. The Dropout. I don't know which one
That's
that one
the
is.
one with
Elizabeth Holmes.
Yeah.
The Theranos
That's about
blood
Elizabeth
testing
Holmes.
scandal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Trying to just get a little sliver of poo to test if you have HPV is what she was trying to pull off.
Blood, but
Yeah.
It's a pretty. Yeah, so and using blood to test if you've got a tasty cum, but there's just all sorts of things she was trying to pull off, and it just wasn't feasible. Right? There's just she got a lot of money, a lot of people donated, but at the end of the day, she was full of shit, right?
Well, Dr. Phil, the list goes on. The White Lotus on HBO.
Yeah. That was a big deal.
I didn't see that one either.
White Lotus, yeah, that was my ex's nickname in middle school, the White Lotus. She, there's a lot about Hawaii that makes me jealous. I want to shoot, a whole episode of shows in Hawaii where we could just, go out there and just smoke some of that sweet Hawaii herb. It's easy to find weed in Hawaii, but you have to know somebody, right? Because everyone's so goddamn chill. You just be like, hey, where can I get some weed? And they're like, just follow your heart, man. And it's funny. You're like, all right, you fucking hippy dippy, right? But so I'd love to go to Hawaii, stay at a resort, all inclusive, right? Where they rub you down and tug you up, right?
The Inventing Anna.
Oh, yeah, the Anna Delvey, the Instagram sort of heiress.
Didn't see that one either.
Christy watched the whole thing.
Sure, that was all about Inventing Anna. That was about the Germans. They invented the what is it called? The Blumpkin, right? The Germans invented the Blumpkin, and her name was Anna, is who invented that. So now they're doing a whole documentary series on this little girl. She's kind of like our who's the little girl that wants to make sure global warming is
Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg.
Judy Bloom. Yeah, so she's like that version, but the German sexual version. So now they're doing a whole mini series on the Blumpkin. On the Blumpkin. Anna Blumpkin, I think is her name.
And finally, there's Pam and Tommy. I know that's your favorite.
A triumph.
Yeah, that's a great show. And they really just did it. And there's all sorts of we're going to see an upswing in the nostalgic 90s. Like, where are they now? Where do they go? Where do they come from? Right. And now they're, it's next up. They'll do a whole thing on Patrick Duffy and how he was banging everyone on the set of Step by Step. Right. They'll turn that into a show. And that kid Cody, who lived in the van, had a huge meth problem, but was great at reading lines and doing lines, which is why all those kids went on to succeed, right? Suzanne Summers launched her twat massager during the run of that show.
I will say I had dinner.
Friend, by the way,
I had dinner with Suzanne Summers the other night.
Excuse me?
Oh yeah.
Oh nothing.
Are you serious?
Nothing. Yeah. I am. She's,
she is still she's clicking and ticking. That is one seatbelt I would buckle up for.
Oh yeah, wearing leopard boots, leopard jumper with a leopard purse.
Wow,
that's awesome.
Yeah, goddamn.
Well, if you're gonna go leopard, you got to go full leopard. You know what I'm saying? Like, anytime I go to the zoo and I'm on peyote, right, I dress like one of the cheetahs because the baboons, when they're jerking off, there's less of a chance they're gonna fire off a money shot at some kid with both paws glued to the plexiglass trying to catch a whiff of what's going on in the animal kingdom. We'll be right back. We'll keep it right here. But I think there's something to be said, Adam, about Suzanne Summers just going full leopard, right? She's hitting this age where she doesn't give a fuck, but she does, and she knows you give 2 fucks.
Yeah, possibly
now,
3.
Does she purr? Does she purr?
You gotta scratch her under the neck. She is, it's really.
That's what she said.
It's kind of interesting. I think somebody's got to do a documentary about her. She's had a crazy life.
Yeah.
Ever since way before.
Crazy life.
Yeah, way before Three's Company, she had a crazy life.
Yeah, I think she was a single mom, and she was on the biggest show on TV and got booted because she wanted, I don't know, half of what John Ritter was getting paid.
Villainized. How dare she, exactly.
Well, that's the way we used to do it. It's like, this 20,000's not enough for a little lady.
She
an
didn't
episode.
know her
it's
place.
like right.
Yep.
Yeah, and then went to Las Vegas, did a stage show, and won like Las Vegas Performer of the Year for like 2 years, 2 years running. All right, Adam, you want to hang with us? We'll fire up some news.
Yeah, let's do it. Please
do the news.
Yes, let's do it, baby.
Right after this.
Give me the news with Grad. News with Gina Grad. Breaking, viral, weird crime, protest, politics. Give me news with Gina Grad. Stuff they saw on TMZ. Joe Biden, Kamala. Meet news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, let's start intergalactically because that is what everyone's talking about. This picture, oh my God, and
There's
we have
many.
it. Yes, it's taken decades and billions of dollars, but the James Webb Space Telescope has finally beamed back some stunning images showing the deepest view of outer space ever captured. And it feels quaint. It should feel exciting, but it feels quaint.
It's pretty awesome. Have you seen this?
But I want
seen
more.
it.
Yeah, show Adam. The images show thousands of galaxies and offers a look at space from as far back as 13 billion years ago. And by the way, we're looking at a picture right now, and it looks infinite and vast. As for how big this image is, the NASA website says it covers a patch of sky approximately the size of a grain of sand held at arm's length by someone on the ground. And we're looking at numerous galaxies. These are the first images, and the telescope is expected to ultimately transmit more. There have been...
I saw all this shit in 1967.
Oh, boy.
You know why?
Why?
Because I saw the opening of the TV show A Family Affair.
Okay.
Which looked exactly like this.
Why did Family Affair open like this?
I have no idea why Family Affair. And we discussed Buffy's tragic overdose death and the many songs that were written about it. But if you find the opening of Family Affair, you'll see this. But can I say this? Think about this ratio. Just think about this ratio, and could there be anything bigger than this ratio? The amount of time between someone says, I have an idea, let's build an incredible space scope and send it into the atmosphere and have it travel years and in galaxies beyond our reach and all that kind of stuff. And, 30 years and $200 billion later, we get our first image, and the average American looks at it for 3.7 seconds. Like, all right.
And it scrolls past it.
There you go.
These are stars.
And if you said to the person, this is pretty important, they'd get testy. Yeah. Like they'd go, I fucking saw it. I saw it. It's stars. Yep.
I get it.
It's
colorful. Is that the difference? There's
They're
color
a little
this time?
bigger than our stars.
That's it. But yes.
Now, how about the guys who will buy a star? Gina, as the gal here, give me a read on if a guy wants to buy a girl a star. Do you know these guys?
That is the worst.
It's usually like a guy. Yeah, usually hear the idea brewing in like an IHOP parking lot, and there's probably a joint being passed, and Gabe's like, I'm thinking about buying Beth a star and naming it after And then,
All right.
as soon as I get a job and can afford it. And I don't know how I feel about that.
All right, what would be the worst in the gift department? And by the way, the star named after you, this is like you give me $500 and I'll make sure that part of Grandpa's ashes go into outer space. Right. Is it ever confirmed?
No. They have the tree in Israel. They have the little child in a third world country. They have now you can own an inch of land in Scotland and be a lord. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I will say this.
Get the fuck out of here.
What don't you, as a gift?
Yeah.
As a gift. I've named a star after you, honey.
Okay.
Or I've made a donation in your name, unspecified amount, to my charity.
Oh. What's the charity?
It's Scoliosis Society. Don't try to spell it.
I think for like cocktail party talking points, I guess I'll take the star, but neither of them really move the needle.
At least the donation is going to a good cause.
No.
Ultimately, the star is pure fiction.
But that's what I'm saying. If you're talking about just the wow factor for your girlfriend,
and then,
she doesn't give a shit about
then how do you verify it? Like wait till nightfall and then go, no, that's Orion's belt. It's right. It's
the shiny one?
If Orion had a runny nose, you'd be Orion's
hanky
booger. Like, look up. It's above Orion's belt.
Oh, is it that really bright blue one?
Oh, that's
that's a Union 76 station. You got to go up more.
Wait, I'm looking through my telescope. Oh my God, is it the one with the ring around it?
Yeah, all right. Yeah. And speaking of rings, that'll be the last we speak of it.
Fuck.
Do we have the family affair?
Now, riddle me this. Do you think
opening?
Do you think anyone has ever there's been virginities lost over the purchasing of a star or like any sort of relationship upgrade?
Oh God, no.
A great moment in hookup history.
Maybe
Did something
early
happen
on
to
in
the
like
girl
the
where she was like,
90s.
Right, when it was first
kind of
rolled out.
novelty.
like, James, I'm not going to blow you. I'm not going to blow you. I don't care. We're not there yet. I don't even know your favorite color. I've never even met your dog. There's just so much we have to do. You don't like Sheryl Crow, which is a huge red flag in the human handbook. You think Carol Baskin's a good person. I just don't. I'm not blowing you. And then he goes, just open your birthday card, babe. What is this? You bought me a. Oh my God. Right.
I do.
That's her. That's not her.
All right,
going down. That's her. That's her getting choked up.
Oh.
And then James goes, yeah, I made the right call. He's like, can you Venmo me $300? By the way, I used your credit card.
Can we wait a minute. Why did she have to Venmo him? All right, we'll share the beginning of Family Affair. It was all chronicled in 1967.
It's like a kaleidoscope effect.
I find this more visually compelling.
Suzanne Summers is in this?
No, but she should have been.
She should have been.
This is the whole
Is
opening.
that pepperoni?
Yeah,
Not
it just
everything
looks
is food, Adam.
like red and orange and pink kaleidoscope.
I don't know, man. That's a pretty decent shot of rotating pepperoni.
All right, sorry.
John Williams. John Williams, the composer?
Not the John Williams.
No.
Unlikely.
The original butler was played by Sebastian Cabot.
Of course.
What a name.
His name was Mr. French. And then he moved on.
That's a guy that doesn't have to buy a star to get blown.
That's right.
That's right.
What else you got, Gina?
Well, let's talk about this this gaffe from Dr. Jill Biden. She has apologized for saying that Latinos are as unique as tacos during a speech to the nation's largest Hispanic civil rights and advocacy organization. She flew to San Antonio on Monday to address an annual conference of Unidos US, which is a Latino civil rights and advocacy group. But Biden's attempt at a compliment stumbled a little. She mispronounced bodega and made this taco comment. Here's the clip.
Diversity of this community, as distinct as the Bogotas of the Bronx, as beautiful as the blossoms of Miami, and as unique as the breakfast tacos here in San Antonio, is your strength.
She doesn't need to. I mean, she should apologize for pandering, but that's why
It's not offensive.
fine.
It's dumb.
We quietly we talk a lot about being racist and racializing and everything, and as it turns to blacks, but Hispanics were the worst on because we go like, oh, you want to go after these people? Who's going to clean your toilet? Who's going to pick up your dog shit?
It's offensive.
Yeah. Who's going to pick your lettuce?
Who's going to be the bottom in gay porn? Who? Yeah, who's going to pick that fucking lettuce you're eating right now? You want it to cost $89? Who is going to pick up your dog shit? Who's going to rake your lawn? Who's going to eat your wife's pussy when she becomes morbidly obese? Who? These people. These proud people.
They did the jobs they don't want to do.
And they never go like, who's going to teach your kids at the college level? It's always like, who's going to suck out the porta potty with the honey wagon? Who's going to hook that hose up
the
after?
Hispanics are like, we get it. Okay. Thank you for your help.
Yes, you're hurting more than you're helping.
Yeah.
You know,
who's going to slave in a
Brad
kitchen? Yes. Sorry, go ahead.
I saw Brad in a Cirque du Soleil show last night here in Vegas.
Oh,
Matt Apple.
He comes out at one point, and there's a Mexican guy. I guess he's doing this thing called the Wheel of Death at the end, where he's like jumping up on this wheel that's rotating. Like it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And Brad comes out to do a little pitch for the closing of the show for people to buy merch, and he goes, Jesus, Mexicans really just will take any job. Why would you do the Wheel of Death wasn't even like something you could go, maybe not that. Maybe I'll go.
Who's gonna ride your Wheel of Death? Who's gonna pull the snot rockets out of the drinking fountain at your kid's school? Who's gonna dry your car after it goes through the car wash? Who, I ask you?
No boss.
Who's gonna take care of your elderly racist nana? Who's gonna carry you in and out of the Trader Joe's? Who?
It's not the compliment.
I know.
Yeah. Little update. Do you remember that weird couple with the same last name that had no relation? Remember Casey White and the prisoner and the guard?
She died. Right?
Vicky White. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's the one that kind of snuck him out of jail. They were on the run for like 10 days. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a follow-up with them. Casey White, he was the inmate who escaped from an Alabama prison before getting caught, just got charged over the death of prison guard Vicky White. Now, let's remind ourselves how she died. TMZ reports that Casey...
She is so young Jodie Foster here.
I see it.
Freaky Friday era.
Even though she's
young Jodie Foster meets the aforementioned John Williams, composer. We already brought up.
What does John Williams look like?
That's not John Williams.
No, the other
the
Paul Williams. Sorry,
Paul
Okay.
No, Paul Williams is a composer.
Well, John Williams
actor
is the
too.
famous
John Williams.
You wrote Rainbow
is that
Connection,
one.
I believe.
And Paul Williams.
She's got a little.
Has written a million.
Yeah, this woman's
songs.
got a little.
Yeah.
This woman's got like some Jodie Foster, also some. God, what's her name? The Tanya Harding, right? It's got a little, maybe Tanya Harding's mom.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we continue down speaking,
also she looks like the kid from the Christmas Story.
Yep, Ralphie.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Billingsley?
Paul Williams and young Jodie Foster. We shall.
No,
make
the
it
other
happen.
kid, Brian. Yeah, the only kid in the Christmas Story that we know
Grover
the name
Dill?
of.
TMZ reports that Casey's charged with felony murder in connection with the death of Vicky White, who died from a gunshot wound to the head when police were closing in on them. Now, how does this work? Who shot her?
And is she going at the end, like when he's shooting her? This is not the convict I knew and fell in love with. This is not the murderer who I fell in love with.
But it's even weirder.
So many weeks ago.
It's even weirder. The grand jury indictment alleges that Casey caused Vicky's death in the course of the escaping. Because remember, they claim she shot herself.
Oh, right.
So if you recall, Casey and Vicky, they were on the run for 11 days, leading to this national manhunt. They were tracked down in Indiana. They got into a police chase, crashed the car in a cornfield. Vicky then allegedly shot herself in the head.
Classic.
Casey was pulled from the wreckage, taken into custody, and law enforcement officials said he showed no remorse in learning that Vicky died. Prosecutors say Casey, who's already serving a 75-year sentence for a 2015 crime spree, was served a copy of the indictment Monday in prison. But they are holding him responsible for that.
Well, now he's in trouble.
Yeah, now he's facing some prison time.
Yeah, listen, mister. Now you're in trouble. What about the poor parents?
Christ.
Because the poor parents of the female guard, it's kind of cool that your daughter's doing that job.
Yeah,
you know
2 weeks ago, they're super proud.
Yeah,
and they were like
CO.
probably weaving it into a lot of conversations, and now not as much,
No,
right?
I would keep that pretty quiet if you can at this point. Are you guys familiar?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, on a whole, do you think with people that work in those positions at the at jails, do you think their parents are pretty proud? Like, do you think she was doing that from the get-go?
I don't know.
Did her bakery fail?
It's kind of a novelty for your daughter to run that job. I don't think you're boasting a lot if your son gets that gig.
Right.
But the daughter's kind of interesting. There's a lot of, good for her, working in a man's world.
I think you're right. I'll answer your question, Adam, and say, yes, I saw the documentary Attica last year, and Attica is like a prison town. There's like steel towns, or there's whatever town, logging towns, and people would, there'd be generations of prison guards who lived in the town that surrounded the prison.
And you had to then also guard some guys you went to high school with.
You probably.
Because if I lived in a prison town, I would be guarding Chris and Ray. Like, there'd definitely be guys I went to high school with who would then have made their way on the wrong side of the bars,
Yeah. I don't think you'll be terribly shocked to hear that in college, my boyfriend was a donut delivery guy and had to deliver to Lansing and Leavenworth prison every morning.
Oh, really? For the
For the donut, they ordered. They had a donut order, a standing donut order.
All right,
So that's
Paul
as far as I can go.
Williams and young Jodie Foster. I think we're going to see some doppelganger action.
Now, follow up. Your parents are proud of that, but now follow up. If your kid's a mime, are you bragging at barbecues about that?
You're heartbroken.
I'm in a prison?
Well, first off, I am, because someone's got to talk that boy up. He can't do it himself. You know what I mean? He's so busy trying to get out of that lucite box.
Walk in the wind.
That I'm going to have to become an advocate for him.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Nobody likes a jabbery mime. You know what I mean? That fucking mime, such a narcissist. Never stops talking about his mimery.
Oh, shit.
Hey, speaking of that, I just heard a story Rob Reiner tell about I'm going to call him Albert Einstein.
Albert Brooks.
Thank you. Doing that bit a bunch on Johnny Carson, like being a mime, but talking through it, and nobody got it, and nobody laughed, and he kept doing it. He's like, it's funny. I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And nobody got it.
Oh, so we talking Super Dave?
No, I'm talking Albert Brooks.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But do you know that bit?
No, but if it's from the mind of Albert Brooks,
then it's very funny.
It's got to be funny.
Do we have that picture?
Yeah.
We're looking for it.
Okay.
Chris seems unimpressed.
Let's see. I see it. I get it.
Yeah,
That's too young of Jodie Foster.
No, Jodie's making a face and kind of turning. We need to straighten on. But
the other guy, I get it.
Paul Williams.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, that's who it is.
Maybe
That's
get Jodie from like Freaky Friday, you know what I mean? Like a
Yeah.
13-year-old.
Yeah. Not.
Paul Williams wrote Evergreen for Barbra Streisand. Paul Williams has written many, many mega hits.
It's true.
He looks very English.
I think he wrote The Rainbow Connection, no?
Well,
Sounds about
more
right.
work for Chris,
Okay.
and also, of course, starred as Little Enos in Smoking the Bandit, Part 2 or whatever it was. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Wait, he's American? He has a very doughy British look.
He's an actor, and I'll tell him that next time I see him. Hey, mate. You seem doughy.
Yeah.
You have a very scony British look.
Well, let's get into Marion Barber.
You got poutine fingers.
Oh, I heard about this.
Yeah. The cause of death has been revealed. The former NFL star running back for the Dallas Cowboys and Chicago Bears is said to have died of heat stroke in June. And kind of possibly by his doing. So Fox News reports that Frisco, Texas police said the medical examiner ruled it was an accident. Barber was found dead on June 1st after police were called to make a welfare check at his apartment that he believed that he was leasing. According to TMZ Sports, officials saw that the thermostat in June was set at 91 and that heat was on. Investigators noted Barber had a history of working out in sauna-like conditions, and police said there was no evidence of trauma or drug overdose. Was he just like hardcore?
I guess.
I think he's played in the league for 10 years.
Yeah.
Something of that.
Yeah, I don't, the thing about the human condition is, football, 2-a-days, heat. I did it in the valley, no water. They just run the shit out of you. And every once in a while somebody just dies. Like they just can't tolerate it. You know,
Corey Stringer.
Other people can. Yeah,
I remember my freshman year we did 2-a-days, sometimes 3-a-days, and I remember this guy Robert Woods was a big dude, like 6'5", and definitely packing some pounds on him, and we would run these suicides and whatever, like sometimes just so long where, I mean, guys are collapsing, but I remember him like literally passing out, puking. Like I remember even looking over one point and he was like, and our coach was just like, "Get up, Woods." I was like, I think we should. I think
call a medic.
I don't know if this is going to be the difference in us, getting over the goal line next week. But I mean, some coaches are just they just watch Friday Night Lights too many times, and they're just like they want to be that guy, and they just want to push, and they think like push to get the best out of you. It's like at some point you got to read the room.
What they lack in medical training, they make up for in demanding.
Right.
Paul, you got another picture? Paul Williams wrote Rainbow Connection.
Great song. There we go.
All right.
That is Annabelle Andrews from Freaky Friday.
Circle
for sure.
gets a square.
Yeah, there you go.
Dear God.
By the way, Freaky Friday remade multiple times. Cannot beat the original. I've seen it 1,000 times.
You got to worry. You got to think about her dating profile because, like, some guy's reading it. It's like when she was alive, like gainfully employed, looks like a young Jodie Foster.
Oh.
And Paul Williams. All right, let's do one more.
All right,
Gina.
well, I'm dedicating this one to, yes.
How funky must that apartment have been?
Oh, boy.
You got the heat turned up to 95. You got a guy just doing squats in there all day long. Like, does he have a girlfriend? When you open the door, you get that whoosh of whatever the person's up to.
Hits you in the face.
Like, I used to go into people's units all fucking day. Everyone talks about shit jobs, and they talk about, oh, man, it's so hot working on one of those road crews with the asphalt and stuff. During the heat, minus the air conditioning, you walk into poor, crazy people's single-size apartment units. And when you open that door, you'll know everything. You'll know someone had bacon for breakfast.
What kind of soup they like.
I was going to say probably soup and cigarettes.
You know what they know if they smoke, and you know the difference between a pipe and a cigar and a cigarette and menthols. And you just open the door and you're like, oh shit, this is what this person is into. And they all were crazy. No air conditioning. I have to go into all their units and work on them. And you knew as soon as the door opened, just whatever that atmosphere.
Do they have a dog or two?
Yes, you knew it all right there.
That's a good point.
There's a wet pillowcase. For some reason, there was like a raccoon scissoring a stuffed animal in the fucking closet.
You want to know the
Bagel Rock is
the creepiest unit was one guy. They're all kind of nuts. They're all kind of on government. They're on disability or whatever. Housing was subsidized.
Now he places the lotion in the basket.
Super small units. One guy, they all cooked with a lot of lard because they were like old school and you could smell that. But one guy like bought a half gallon of milk, twice a week for 40 years. And he had all the panels of the missing kids cut out and stacked up from floor to ceiling, 10 across.
You called the police, right?
Thousands of them.
He did it.
My greatest hits.
Yeah,
no one could possibly abduct that many children. Like there
was
were
his wish list.
Thousands of them. I knew his schedule. These guys weren't going anywhere. They were just around.
Oh my God.
All day. But every single time he finished off one of those cartons of milk, you
have to cut out the square.
Oh yeah. He possibly rinsed it out. I do not know, but just the panel. And in order to get the panel is a 1/16 of an inch wide. In order to get 7 feet off the ground, you've got to be at this for years. Scary hoarding.
I would quit on the spot before I would step foot in that fucking apartment.
John Doe in 7.
Yes.
Oh, nothing was worse than when Shaky Jake got so tired
That's what you call your hand?
of all of us going into his unit and busting out cabinets and working in his unit because he was just in his unit all day. He was in his underpants. Picture Goodfellas. Picture Stacks.
Oh no!
Oh, I love
Goodfellas.
Stax. Yeah. Samuel Jackson.
Just dress socks and briefs. Just
Yeah, but he was lading on high and left the van.
Right.
He pulled a shotgun on one of my coworkers who was going into his unit, construction guys, and so I was like down in the third floor or something. And like, Shaky Jake's got a shotgun. Go up there.
You go up there?
Yeah, because I was the Menachem Begin of the group. People seem to like me. It's a very common construction
among your
reference.
coworkers.
So I walked in and Shaky had a shotgun out, and I was like, let's just relax here. Bring the temperature down a little. And he had double barrel shotgun, had both hammers pulled back, and we're sitting on the foot of his Murphy bed. He was in his underpants and black socks, and I was like, Shaky, we got to get the job done, and or Jake, I probably called him, and we got to get the job done.
Mr. Jake.
We're going to be out of here soon. And, it's for your own safety. And he sort of calmed down a little, and I said, let's just put the gun away. And he said, yeah, I'm not sure how to get the hammer back without it going off.
Sure.
And then,
That's fair.
Worst job ever. I'm sitting with this crazy old black man in dress socks and underpants with a double-barrel shotgun, and I now have both fingers in my ears.
Oh, you bullied him.
I'm not going to get shot. He's facing it toward the wall,
But you're going to lose an eardrum.
But I don't want to hear this.
Yeah.
And he was able to get the hammer back.
Thank God.
Or both hammers back. That was Shaky Jake. Every unit had its own scent. Big time.
And I bet which one overall smelled worse, the men's units or the women's units?
There were very few women. Very few women. It was mostly all men. And and then there was a guy who shat in the bucket. And
Out of Carolla?
That's a popcorn tin.
He shit in a 5-gallon bucket, and I forgot about that one. But the reason I found that one is because some of my coworkers removed the shit bucket. It was a sort of liquid shit bucket, and they positioned it next to my table saw in the back where I was working.
That's fucked up.
About 5 feet away. Yeah, and they kind of put a piece of plywood over it, so like next to it, like whatever, I wouldn't see it. And then I went onto the table saw and I fired up the table saw and I was like ripping some pine, and then I would smell like the worst fart ever. And I'd stop the table saw and I'd look around and go, what the fuck is smell? Open sewage. I go, and it would like go away and I'd fire the table saw back up again. I'd start milling and the smell would come back again. And I was like, what the fuck? And I'd stop and I'd look around. There's a little area in the back of this 5-story unit. And I'd go, what the fuck? And anyway, certain point, after about 5 times, I heard laughing. And all the guys were on the roof of the building. And they were dropping these big, oversized nuts that we put the shear anchor plates on the outside building into the bucket.
And they were dipped in farts?
Into the bucket of shit.
Make a splash.
And if he hit the bucket of shit, it would make a big fart splash.
Like the Bellagio fountain.
No. Yes, and my back is turned working a fucking table saw. That's who you were dealing with on these job sites. They stole the guy's shit
the saw up louder.
They gave this guy a toilet, right?
He had a toilet.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Is it preference?
Full access to a toilet. Just like the FBI had the names of the kids that had been abducted, but these guys were burning the midnight oil. All right.
Speaking of abducted kids, Vicky, that picture of Vicky kind of looks like, the best friend of the missing kid on the milk carton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Or maybe that's her, and Jodie Foster is that best friend. Which, by the way, did they ever find those kids? There's a documentary, Adam. Go on a hunt to try to find, or maybe there's a kid that's like, finally just, comes out of the woodwork and he's like, they never found me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been here a long time.
I was milk carton Mikey.
Yeah. All right, ready to?
He's like, nobody looked because it was 2%.
But I like the alliteration. Let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Surprise.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
All right, last but not least, there is Geico. Do you own, do you rent your home? Well, you do one or the other, and you work hard. So, it's easy bundling policies at Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowners or renters insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see just how much you could be saving when you visit geico.com today. All right, the great Adam Ray in the theater at Virgin Hotels. That's coming up this Friday, and the Celebrity Theater on Saturday in Phoenix, and then Boulder on Sunday doing the Boulder Theater. So God bless Adam Ray. And what you should do is you should tweet him or hit up his Instagram at Adam Ray Comedy. Corey DeAngelis as well, and you can check out his new book, School Choice Miss, available on Amazon. I'm going to be in Springfield, Missouri, Blue Room Comedy Club this Friday, Saturday, doing stand-up, and we're doing live pod there, too. And I think Kyle Dunnigan's going to join us on Saturday, so check that out for the early show. Adam, always a treat, my friend.
Love you guys. Great to see you. Hit up Joel about hosting the Fat Kid Stoner Show.
I will. Until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Adam Ray, Corey DeAngelis, and Gina Grad and Paul Bryan. Say it. Mahalo. You put the hook in the eye of the minnow, and then it'll be like live bath. Like, I'm not putting a hook into the eye of one of God's creatures. Yeah. And then when you get the fish on, you have to hit it with the bat.
Yeah,
hit it with the bat, and then later we'll gut it. And I'm like, let's go to the seafood market and let's see what halibut costs.